Back at it again, back-to-back interviews here on the NFL Draft Bible Player Spotlight Show. If the background looks familiar, they're part of the same agency. Joining the show now is Bobby Jones IV, linebacker out of Northern Illinois University. Again, visit NFLDraftBible.com, bringing you the names that you need to know first since 2002. And again, out of Northern Illinois University, he's Bobby Jones IV. Really appreciate you taking some time to chat this afternoon, Bobby. How's everything going with you in this draft process?
No problem. Thanks for having me. And right now the draft process is going very well. I've been training hard down at Perform in Davie, Florida. So right now we're just taking it one day at a time.
Yeah, no doubt about it. Again, we just finished chatting with Devin Butler, the cornerback out of Syracuse, out of Notre Dame, and that's really a very solid draft class that you guys are putting together over there. Both Alex and Sam. I mean, what's it like working with these guys? Not only your agents, but the players that they also surround you with.
Man, it's crazy because it's like the players, Kendall and Devin, we all like closing it already, and we just met, and we all vibe pretty good. And Sam and Alex, they've been great throughout the process, helping us with whatever we need, and I just couldn't ask for a better group to be working with.
Can you believe your time as a college athlete has already come and gone, and now here you are, fighting for a chance to get a shot in the NFL? I mean, spending 4 or 5 years at Northern Illinois University before that it's high school. This is kind of like your secondary job, and now here you are, kind of trying to make it your full-time job.
Yeah, definitely. It flew by, but it's always been a dream of mine, and each year I just turned up the hard work even more, and now here I am, and I'm thankful and blessed to be in this position, and just taking it one day at a time and working as hard as I can to show the NFL scouts and GMs that I'm a player they definitely need to have an eye on and can use on their team.
Well, being from the state of Florida, Bobby, I'm sure it's nice to be back there in Davie, Florida, training for the NFL draft.
Yeah.
I mean, the weather, it's totally different back in DeKalb. I'm sure of that, being about 45 minutes away from there. I know that. What was the recruiting process like for you, though? Again, being from the state of Florida, coming out of high school, how did you end up at Northern Illinois?
Out of high school, I didn't have a really heavy recruiting process. UCF was close offering, but at the end of the day, Northern Illinois was the first school to pull the trigger on me, and I committed because I wanted to be committed before my senior season so I could just focus on that. And I stuck with them. They were loyal to me. I was loyal to them. And it turned out to be a great decision, honestly.
Yeah, no doubt about it. I think things have turned out A-OK for you. Talk about your first career start, though. It was your sophomore year against Miami of Ohio. It's a fellow MAC opponent, and you were named MAC West Defensive Player of the Week as you recorded 13 tackles. Obviously, it wasn't really your first time seeing in-game action at the college level, but it was your first time getting the start, getting your first start under your belt. What was that like to just have the type of success that you did have in that mid-October game against Miami of Ohio?
Yeah, so that was crazy because actually I ended up playing another linebacker position. I switched over to the field side, which is Sam to most people, and one guy went down, and they called on me to step up, and I know all three linebacker positions, so I stepped in and did my job, and at the end of the game, I ended up having like 13 tackles, 2 for a loss, and a sack. So, yeah, that was crazy, but I mean, I know the hard work that I put in, it paid off.
Yeah, no doubt about it, and you would then become a full-time starter your final 2 years at Northern Illinois, Bobby. In your junior year, you guys kicked off the season by traveling to Wyoming, and at the time, quarterback Josh Allen, he wasn't looked at nearly as the way he's looked at now, arguably the top prospect in the 2018 NFL Draft. But
Yes.
Looking back at that matchup, what was it like going against him? I know he threw for about 245 yards, 2 touchdowns, also was able to have some success running the ball, 70 yards, and a score on the ground. Was there ever a thought in your mind that during that game that you might be playing against the top quarterback in the nation, and he's from Wyoming?
Man, yeah, I didn't expect that at all. But at the end of the game, not only him, but the whole Wyoming team had my respect and the respect of my other teammates as well. He's definitely showed flashes against us that he can be great, and I see now he's a top.
Yeah, and of course Wyoming. I mean, that team that you played against in 2016, they had quite a few guys make it to the next level. Specifically, their wide receiver and tight end. Off the top of my head, and they're still going at the next level as well. Again, that was your junior year, Bobby. You guys started that 2016 season 1-6 before finishing out on a bit of a hot streak, finishing the season with a final record of 5-7. That was the first losing season the Huskies have had since 2008, before you were there. You guys did bounce back though this past season, finished 8-5, 6-2 in the MAC, and making an appearance in the Quick Lane Bowl game against Duke. You led the team with 107 total tackles this past season. You recorded 12.5 tackles for loss, 5 sacks, and an interception all over the field. And with that said, we'll get to your highlights in just a second. But how were you able to have the impact that you had on the defense this past season?
Pretty much just staying in the film room, knowing what opponent tendencies, player tendencies, and just knowing where to be and get there fast, really. So just to make the play, the type of player I am, I always want to be first to the ball. So that played a part in my success. And also my linebacker coach came in and did a phenomenal job.
Yeah, he absolutely. And again, I mean, really, we're looking at your highlights right now, Bobby, and it's a similar question that I like to ask the prospects, and that is, if you were to give yourself a brief scouting report, I mean, what are your biggest strengths, and what are some of your weaknesses that you'd still like to improve
on? My strengths would be tackling. I'm a very good form tackler. Also, my speed. I'm a pretty fast linebacker, I would say. And my strength, my physicality. Weakness, I definitely want to do better at pass coverage, try to get a few more interceptions, reading route concepts, things like that. So that's definitely something I want to take the next step on in my game.
Well, and again, we just had your season stat line on the bottom of the screen, and again, you led the team in tackles. You had 12.5 tackles for loss, 5 sacks. I don't think there's really much of a better way to wrap up your collegiate career than piling up, a number of career highs across the stat line. And again, I know you wanted to maybe finish out with a better record, maybe finish with a win against Duke in that bowl game, but at least individually, Bobby, I don't know if you could really wrap up your collegiate career much better than you did there at Northern Illinois. When did things become more clear to you that you had a legit shot at furthering your football career and that you were going to give this pro football thing a shot?
It's always been a dream of mine, honestly, but it became more year in the start of my junior. The first 7 games, I think I shot out to about 60 tackles and 5.5 for loss or something like that, and a couple sacks. So that's when I was like, okay, the game is starting to slow down. It's starting to feel like high school again. So I knew I had a legit shot at the next level at that point.
And as soon as the season ended, you had to make probably the most important decision that you've had to make since making the decision to attend Northern Illinois University, and that's choosing an agent. How did you ultimately decide to team up with Alex and Sam over at SLG and NeoStar?
So I got the call from Sam, and we had a conversation over the phone, and he told me everything that he could offer me and how we were talking to scouts and doing the training and stuff. So I just felt like it was very honest and upfront. There wasn't no sugarcoating, so that's how I made the decision, and it turned out to be a great decision.
Yeah, no doubt about it. And again, you're back in Davie, Florida, training for your pro day. And it's funny. I mean, now it's like, again, we're playing your highlights on the screen, Bobby. Now it's like you kind of just throw all this stuff out, and now we're going to pay attention to see how fast you can run a 40-yard dash, how many reps you could pump out of 225 pounds. How high can you jump?
Yeah.
No, really. I mean, the tape does still carry most weight in that, but the pro day does carry a lot of weight in this draft process as well. It could really determine whether or not you're going to get drafted. Do you have any specific numbers or goals in mind that you'd like to hit come pro day?
Yeah, I have a few numbers in mind I'd like to hit. Definitely 40 time, high 4.4 or low 4.5. And I have a few other goals in mind, but I plan to put on a show at pro day. for
And
sure.
we'll be keeping an eye out on that. Is Northern Illinois gonna have a pro day? Do you have any?
Yeah,
Okay, all right, sounds good. So at the Northern Illinois Pro Day, gonna have to keep an eye on that. Gonna look at that 40 time, man, a 4.4, and you can see it in the tape, man. I mean, speed is definitely there. It's it's not very common. You see a linebacker with this type of speed.
yeah,
And again, the versatility as well. You mentioned it at the top of the interview. I mean, you are familiar with all three linebacker positions. Have you been able to meet with any scouts though, Bobby? I mean, what have those conversations kind of been like when meeting with NFL teams? You know, how do you think they view you, the linebacker Bobby Jones the fourth out of Northern Illinois, about 3 months prior to the draft?
Me personally, I haven't spoken to them, but my coach at the school has spoken to a couple of scouts about me, and then my agent Sam, he talked to scouts about me, and letting the rest handle itself.
Okay, and of course, we're seeing a lot of this tape of you playing defense, Bobby. Chances are you're probably gonna have to make a name for yourself on special teams as well. How do you view that side of the ball? And do you think you can make a career, if need be, on special teams?
Yes, definitely. It's been preached to me since I came into college that special teams is the way to get on the field. You weren't going to play on defense if you didn't contribute on special teams, and I started on every single special team there is
Okay.
over my collegiate career. So I definitely know I can make a career if just special teams if need be.
All right, sounds good. Sounds good. Now, this is again another question I like to ask a lot of these prospects we have on the show, and that is, if you were able to recommend one game to an NFL scout, an NFL coach, an NFL general manager to go back and check out throughout your last 4 years at Northern Illinois, Bobby, which game would that be?
I would say Nebraska from this year.
Okay.
Nebraska game, yeah.
And why is that?
It's a Big Ten opponent, and I just feel like I had a great game. I finished with 14 tackles, tackle for loss, and then I was just physical, hard fought game, and I know that's something that the scouts want to see. So.
Okay. And playing in the MAC, playing at Northern Illinois, you're playing against some really good teams: Western Michigan, Central Michigan, Toledo. You could go on and on. Talk about a couple of really talented players that you have the opportunity to play up against. I mean, who are a couple of guys that first come to mind?
In the MAC or just in general?
Let's go in the MAC first, and then in general over the past 4 years.
Okay, I would say Logan Woodside, the quarterback from Toledo, Kareem Hunt, starting running back for the Chiefs now, Corey Davis, phenomenal receiver. And out of conference, I would definitely say Rashad Penny. I played him 2 years back to back. He's a great running back.
Yeah, and of course, just made some noise. Probably just made some money as well at the Senior Bowl.
Yeah.
So again, guys, you cannot go wrong with guys. I mean, Kareem Hunt, led the league in rushing just this past season. A fantastic year out of him with the Kansas City Chiefs. Logan Woodside, I mean, a quarterback coming out of the MAC. I mean, it seems like the MAC always has at least one quarterback that a lot of people are paying attention to.
Yes.
Obviously, you have played with a couple of them, and Drew Hare, I really liked him coming out. I thought there was a chance that he could get an opportunity. That did not happen, unfortunately. And then, of course, you think about Northern Illinois, you probably think about Jordan Lynch, who then had a short career in the NFL and even in the CFL as a running back. So that was a lot of fun as well. And talking about some of these former teammates of yours, Bobby, I mean, Northern Illinois, I mean, over the years, they flushed out quite a bit of talent at the next level as well. Last year you guys had Kenny Galladay, drafted, I believe, in the second or third round by the Detroit Lions. Joel Boigno, the running back, just recently signed with the Green Bay Packers. Have you been able to chat with any of your former teammates that have gotten a look at the next level, and have they given you advice as to what to expect during this draft process?
Yes, I talked to everyone that even sniffed the NFL, really, just to get an idea of what's to come and just to pick their brains a little. So some advice they gave me is just attack everything like a pro. Be a sponge to anyone around, pretty much, and just to keep working hard and be myself. Don't make it bigger than what it has to be.
Okay, again, chatting with Bobby Jones, the fourth linebacker out of Northern Illinois University, 2018 NFL draft prospect. And just a couple more questions for you, Bobby, then we'll let you go. Really appreciate your time. Who are some guys that you like to watch and take bits and pieces of their game and add on to your own? Which NFL player would you say your game resembles the most?
Deion Jones, definitely. When I see him, I see me, pretty much. So him, Quan Alexander, great linebacker. Sean Spence, Telvin Smith, guys like that who are, not the biggest, but they are pretty fast and they make a lot of plays.
Well, and those guys, I mean, every single one of them have turned themselves into having a nice NFL career. And coming out of college, they all kind of had the same questions to answer. A lot of people doubted them because of their size and that, can their game at the college level, can their dominant playing style at the college level translate to the pro game? A lot of people are saying, they're undersized and, I mean, some of these guys I think were even looked at as, maybe they should move back to safety, and of course that's what's going to happen when, you're a fast linebacker, but you have the size, you have the speed, and you have the athleticism to translate onto the next level as those guys, the Telvin Smiths, the Deion Jones, etc., had that you mentioned. Final question for you, Bobby, and then we'll let you go. Let's say we have all 32 NFL general managers. They're tuned into this very interview. Why should they want the linebacker out of Northern Illinois University, Bobby Jones IV, part of their team?
I take my craft seriously. I'm hardworking. I'm a great teammate. Whatever I could do to help, I'm honestly, I'm hungry. I'm always hungry. I never get big headed or anything by any little success. And you're just going to get a guy who's going to go all out just to make the play for the team.
All right, sounds good, Bobby. Really appreciate your time this afternoon, and we're wishing you all the best, man.
Thank you for having me.